عن أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم طوبى لمن شغله عيبه عن عيوب الناس. That Anas ibn Malik narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that blessed is he who is occupied with his own faults over the faults of others. And subhanAllah, just last week I came across a study that was looking at how one perceives their own mistakes and accomplishments versus the mistakes and accomplishments of others. The accomplishments of others are discounted and the mistakes of others are amplified, versus your own accomplishments are often amplified and your own mistakes are diminished. And so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is capturing this beautifully when he's telling us that really if you want to be successful, and tuba, we can talk about all the various meanings that it can take and what is in store for somebody who can actually get over what is essentially human nature, to downplay whatever you do wrong and worry more about other people's faults. But but if one is able to truly do that, if one is able to worry and think and ponder and reflect upon all of the faults that they have and work upon those and take account of those on a regular basis, then they're going to be successful for a variety of reasons. Firstly, they'll be able to actually, the first, even in the 12-step program, for example, right? The first step is recognition. Recognizing that you have a problem. If you don't recognize you have a problem, you'll never do anything to change it. Secondly, even with your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are able to then do tawbah before you die. If you never reflect upon it, if you never think upon it, you will not be able to do tawbah before you die. Thirdly, if you are spending more time worrying about the faults of others, that can be a slippery slope that can lead you down to major sins as a result. One of the things that we spend time doing, instead of talking about our own selves, we often talk about others, especially when they're not there, and their faults when they're not there. And that is ghibah, and that is one of the major sins. And so this is not easy, and that's why the great rewards are associated with things that are not easy. And one example that we read in the Quran basically every Friday when we read Surah Kahf is in the story of Musa alayhi salam that actually captures this really well. So Musa alayhi salam, the three things that he is, when he's in conversation with Al-Khidr and is confused about, are actually things that he's been through himself, right? The first one, when the boat is destroyed, he's like, why would you destroy the boat? These people are going to sink and the boat will sink as a result. Wasn't he himself placed in the water in a basket and he survived that? The second time, a child or a young boy is killed, and then he's like, why would you kill somebody without a reason? And he himself was blamed for killing an innocent person, and we know all what Fir'aun says to him, that didn't you do what you did, and we know that he himself got in trouble for that. But at that moment, it's so easy to see, why did you do that, and forget what you did yourself, right? And even in the third part of the story, when he says, why didn't you take ajr for fixing the wall? Didn't he himself get water for the two sisters when and didn't take ajr from them at all? And so it's so easy. This is human nature. We often will, when we find ourselves in situations where we are looking at somebody else's actions, it's very easy to forget about if we've ever experienced that ourselves or been through a situation like that ourselves, and just focus on the other. And so an important lesson that we get from this is, whenever you find yourself in a situation where you're about to pass a value judgment on the action of another, just do a quick recounting. Have I been in a situation like this myself? How was I in that situation? And is this person doing better or worse than I am? And if they are doing better than you, then think about your own thing and go back and reflect upon it and see how you could have corrected that. Instead of being hypercritical of somebody else's mistakes and diminishing their accomplishments, do the same for yourself. Be hypercritical of yourself. حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا. Take account of yourself before you're taken account of. And that's something, even if we can get into a habit of it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a yearly basis, from Ramadan to Ramadan or wherever else, that will hopefully allow us to be from this category of people who the Prophet ﷺ is promising success for, who occupy themselves with their own faults instead of the faults of others. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
Dr. Jibran, I just want to remind everyone that the